Hello and welcome back to another MagicaVoxel tutorial. In this one, I will be showing you how to create realistic trees in using MagicaVoxel, Blender, and File2Vox. This method of creating trees is a little bit advanced and does require extra steps because I'll be using Blender and File2Vox, but I think the result shows it for itself. This is a pretty large scale example here. And it didn't take that long. So if you make something small, you can probably, with practice, get some really nice trees in a short amount of time. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to open up Blender, and we're going to create a general file. I'm going to delete the cube, hold down Shift A, and we're going to create a plane. And now we want to remove all vertices except for one, so we're going to press Tab, go to Edit Mode, and select the Vertex Select. Select all but one vertices, press Delete, and select the vertices. Now we're just left with one vertice. We will be going to Modifier Properties and adding a Skin modifier, as well as a Subdivision Surface modifier. Don't confirm anything here. We're going to go ahead and press 1 to go to the side view, hold down Z and select wireframe, and with the vertex selected, just hold down, just press E to extrude, and now we can start making our trunk for our tree. And from here we're gonna go ahead and press E again and just create branches that break out from the trunk. And let's say you want to change a vertice, like you don't like the position of it, you just press G and you can move the vertice around to help fit your desired look. And let's say right here you want more of a bend. You can, with this vertex selected, you can hold down Shift S. Sorry. You gotta hold down Control R, and that puts a vertice in the center, and you can go ahead and manipulate your new vertice that way. Okay, so now we have our crude tree right here. To make it more realistic, we're gonna go right here and hold down, what is it, Control A? Yes, you're gonna hold down Control A, and you can expand the bottom portion here to make it more tree-like. Let's just move this vertice down a bit. And now you have something more along the lines of a trunk. And you can also do the same for all these vertices here. So as you go out from the tree, the branches get smaller. So obviously these will get much smaller, but we'll work away from bottom to top. So right here, we can go press and hold Control A, make it slightly smaller. Same with these ones over here. Them slightly smaller. And we just want to do these for all the vertices. Whatever you find not natural, like this, just go ahead and add another vertice in the middle so you can make it look more realistic. Okay, now that we have our tree, go ahead and hold down Z and click the solid view. We are going to make this a little bit bigger. So just go ahead and hold down S to scale. Whoops. Let's leave edit mode first by pressing tab. And with the object selector, just press S to scale. And just make it a little bit bigger, like so. And go ahead, delete the light and camera so that we just have this plane. Go ahead and save it and give it a name. So basically when you hit save, you're going to save the actual Blender file. I'm just going to save it into my desktop, and I made a folder called tree tutorial. And you can see I already saved it right here, but I'm going to just overwrite it. You also want to save the object. So you go here to file, export wavefront object, and you want to put it in that same folder where you saved your blend file. I already saved the object, and the material gets pasted once you export this object. I'm just going to overwrite it. And if I go over to my tree tutorial folder, you can see it saved both the blend file, which if you want to manipulate later the model, you can do that if you want, and the object, which is important because for our next step, we'll be using this object. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and go to File to Vox. More specifically, we're going to go to File to Vox Lazy GUI. I will leave both File to Vox and Lazy GUI as a zip file in my description below. I've already made a video on File to Vox, so if you want to know more details about this program, go ahead and check out that video. But for now, just go ahead and follow along. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and find where File to Vox is. First, right here, step 1. I'm going to hit browse. I'm going to go ahead and find where my File to Vox is. And we're going to select the exe file. Next, we want to get the object that we saved our tree object in that we made in Blender. In this case, I saved it on desktop under tree tutorial. And for output path, I usually leave this blank, and it will automatically put the Vox file where the selected object from step 2 would be in. So in this case, it's going to populate the Vox file here. So I'll just leave this blank. And because we didn't scale the Blender object, because we didn't scale the Blender object, we want to mess around with the setting. Otherwise, when we make the Vox file, it's going to be very small. So I'm just going to say something like 15 and go ahead and hit convert. And it's going to load this program right here. And if you get this error, there's no need to panic. All you have to do is go ahead and select load file and select the tree tutorial object. And it should start capturing all the vertices of the tree to be used to make the Vox file. So once that's done, that program would automatically close, and we'll run this command script right here. And you'll know it's done when this cursor is waiting up input. You can just close it now, and you can just close this as well. Go ahead and go to the folder that the Vox file was, or the object was, and right here, there's the Vox file. Let's just go ahead and select it and maximize this, and look, we have our tree that we made in Blender in MagicaVoxel. So right now I'm in world view, and you can see all the different objects. File to Vox does something weird where it kind of like puts little pieces not in like just one box. So to fix this, all you gotta do is hit Control A and hit U, and it combines all those objects into one object. And you can just press G to put it onto the ground. Now, if this object was bigger than 256, and then you press U to combine it all, there's a high chance that some of your branches or pieces of the tree would be missing, because As you guys know, MagicaVoxel, the maximum limit is 256. So if you have a pretty big object and you try to compile it into just one object, you're going to lose a lot of the voxels because you're putting everything into just one square. Let's go ahead and move this over to our origin point right here, and then press 5 on the keyboard to focus on the object. I'm going to go ahead and press this to fit this, was object to fit our model. And right now it's doing some wacky stuff with the palette. So I'm just going to press this to create a new palette and press tab to go into the model view. Because it's still associating the palette colors to the tree, even though we selected a new palette, all you gotta do is hit Control A to select all the colors and then go over to the palette and just hit random. And that should make it just one color. Yes, it does. So we're just gonna go here. Hold down Alt and left click, and you can see this is the palette color that it's associating this tree with. And I can mess this and change the color to whatever I like. Next, it's doing some weird thing where it's not really touching the ground. So I'm just gonna go ahead and embed this tree object into the ground a bit, so that it actually looks like it's going into the ground. Okay, so with this tree, we're gonna go ahead and start adding some leaves to it. You just wanna click this plus icon here in the world edit view. Make sure you're in world edit view. Just click this plus icon and you have this box. Press tab to go into the model view, and you're gonna go over to this shader section right here. Select Mandelbulb and select shader voxel mode and attach, and just start creating random mandelbulbs by left clicking and dragging out so that your shape looks more dynamic than the regular shader that you have. Okay, now that you got something, I'm just gonna go ahead and scale it. Right now it looks too much like a circle to me, so I'm just gonna scale it on the z-axis a little bit by putting a z.09 and just pressing that a few times. You're gonna be switching in and out of model view to move around your model and kind of overlap the branches of the tree. And we're just gonna do this for all the exposed branches that we have here. And this, and you don't have to make the leaves this size because that would take quite some time. So for instance, you can make, that's maybe too big, maybe 75 voxels wide, and I'm just pressing backspace to clear the object that was in here. And with the mandelbulb, we're just going to do the same thing again, except on a much larger scale. So we have something comfortable. Scale it down, maybe scale X or Y a little bit, and go ahead and put it over a branch. Now I'm going to speed this up until all the branches are completed, or until all the branches are no longer exposed. Okay, now that we have our leaves in place, we can go ahead and get to the fun part, which is coloring the leaves. So an easy thing to do here is to just go to each one of them and just select the color that you want the leaves to be. I'm just going to make it some sort of green. And actually, I think because all of these are set to this color right here, I can just change this color and it should change all of these. So I'm actually going to undo that, change that color palette, and just change this palette color. And you can grab the palette colors from any of your voxels by just holding down Alt and left clicking on said object. And you can see I'm clicking the tree itself and it's getting me this color. So if I just hold Alt and left click the leaves, you can see all the leaves seem to point to this color. So if I just change this color, it'll change all the leaf objects to that associated color. I think it's looking pretty good. The tree itself looks a little bit what's the word? Like, there's not usually with trees, there's a lot of roots that kind of go into the base of the tree. So I'm going to try and replicate that. The most simplest solution is to actually hold down Shift and left click drag one of the arrows so that you duplicate the tree itself. And we're going to be making the roots on this and not necessarily affecting our main object, just in case we mess up a bunch and we want to revert back to this object, we can do that. So super simple stuff. I'm just gonna grab the palette color here, use voxel mode, and using the plus and minus keys on the keyboard or using the slider, increase the voxel size so that you can start drawing kind of like branches coming off of the tree. Okay, now when you're done with the base of the tree, just put it back, overlapping the original tree, and see how it looks. I'm gonna raise it up a little bit so I can see the bottom. And change the bark of the tree because right now it's not looking realistic. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. We can add a little bit more detail to this. So depending on the type of tree you have, you can have like a jungly tree or a normal oak tree. But I think regardless of what tree you have, you can add some vines to the bark of the tree to make it look a little bit more lifelike. And an easy way to do this is to just duplicate this object again and go ahead and select, I'm just going to use this green, hit random. Now the whole object that we created becomes this color, you're going to go ahead and go to the console and type in xsrandom or xsrand and give it like a 0.9 to get rid of most of it and put it back down like so. Now it looks like our tree's starting to have some like moss growing on it, and we draw like vines as well. So I'm just going to merge all the barks objects into one object, and using the voxel mode, just draw some vines here and there. So with that, you have a pretty cool looking tree that you made in MagicaVoxel that looks fairly realistic. Now you can go ahead and like add grass to the sides and stuff, and maybe add some more texturing to the trees, like give it some more color as well as the bark. But I just wanted to show you guys the steps that you can take to make a pretty nice and realistic tree fairly quickly. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.